This is Susan Inspired, and we're here to talk about the Schumann Resonance. Wow, there's a huge wave of energy on the chart this morning, and we have not had a wave of energy like this in 12 and a half weeks, and that's really unusual for this time of year. Normally we have multiple waves by this time in June. So we're in the 4th week of June, 2 more days to go, and we finally get this. And by wave, I mean this kind of more waterfall-shaped wave that really lasts for a few hours. And all of us who, look at the Schumann really feel that when these waves come in, it just really feels like an expanded energy. It feels like celestial support. It feels like higher frequency, a higher state of being. And it feels really good. Maybe heart connectedness, it just feels great. And it's so wonderful to see this, like to get up first thing in the morning and see this. Let's take a look at this chart. And the first thing that we'll do is we'll do an intuitive read of the images and a read of the images. And what you'll notice here, what was happening before this wave in these green bands of energy, and these green bands, all 4 of them are in your 4 resonance ranges. They're really hanging out in those ranges and highlighting them, and also having quite a bit of red here. It's almost like, see, with this red, we were in from the alpha state, or about the natural frequency of the planet, reaching in, digging in and touching the subconscious. And what was this? This is like some weird creepy crawly. We were digging stuff out of the subconscious. We gotten our reward, it looks like, for that now. But see this? See all the dark little dots and stuff? This wave of energy, this rod, as I call these, was a good amount of power, and it really brought a dip in the frequencies, which tell us that it was also an expanded energy and something that was supportive. And to me, when we're seeing all these little red and black dots, and then we get this in, it's like we've made a decision of some sort. And not only was it a rod of energy, but there's literally like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them here in a row. It's like we really grounded something energetically. And after that happens, we get this bridge formation. Every time I see this, I think of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco. But you see how the red makes a kind of scaffolding here with the white rods. I call this a rod, a vertical, from about 0 to 40 hertz. And you see that it almost appears to be in the foreground. And then behind it, it looks like there's this ladder type formation. And what it looks like to me is that we made like some really strong decisions here. And now what's in the back, the scaffolding, the bridge, is being taken away. And what's left is the white rod in front and this more narrow rod in front, which makes a kind of gateway. It's like, what was this a bridge to? What was this? It's almost like the idea of a veil being taken from us or being taken away. And it's like, more than it being taken from us, we made the decision. We did the work and we grounded the energy and we made a decision. And then bam, the light comes in. Congratulations. Woohoo! So exciting. We've had 12 and a half weeks of really sticking it out, being there, being in it for the long haul and the longer haul. That's like a test of faith, a test of endurance. There was a spike, as I said, in the red quality here. So the red came through very potently in this energy that feels like it was removed, or, there was a decision about it, and a decision like an I do not consent decision. Woo, this feels good. Okay, let's look at the black data charts. So here I've highlighted where that big wave was. And the interesting thing about the frequencies, you see, these are the frequency ranges of each resonance. And it's typical when there's a wave of resonance that has this expanded, in my view, energy, that the resonance will move down. Now, sometimes it really is common for it to happen just for a bit. Like, see here, you get like, okay, dip the toe in, right, to the lower end of the range and then come back out. That's typical for a wave. But look what happens with this huge wave of energy, first time in 12 and a half weeks. The frequencies just, they just keep going down to the lower end, down to the lower end, down to the lower end, down to the lower end. It's really noticeable here in yellow, where it's just like, yeah, we're going to go down there, we're going to dig in, we're going to clear it out, we're going to bring the light to these parts of our human experience. And you know what's so amazing? This goes so well with my live stream that I did literally last night. So I'll put a link to that below. It's in two parts. In one, I go into some interesting information about the recent phenomenal pattern on the chart. I have a second video, I'll link that too, about magnetism, heat, and the Schumann Resonance. If you haven't seen that, that one is so fascinating, and it also explains why something might have occurred that only affected Tomsk. I go through scientific data and put a pattern together for you. It's so fascinating. And then at the second half of my live from last night, I had a question from a viewer, and she said, what did you mean when you say transmutation of energy and integration of the shadow energy? I answered those questions in the live, and it was so great. You know, the live was just full of good energy last night. No wonder we had this on the horizon. What I see the frequency ranges of as like they're a representation of human experience in certain slices of life. So in my view, the white is that divine or celestial that we talked about. The yellow, in my view, is the closest non-physical to the human being, like the astral layer of energy, the aura, the colors that people see in the field, the fourth dimension, as I call it, our thoughts, dreams, hopes, wishes. The red, in my view, is the denser experience of being human. So the really deep, anger, the fears that are intense, the shadow side that we've hidden from ourselves, and even the unconscious aspects of ourselves and the forces of darkness on the earth, just like the white resonance could represent the forces of life, of light and life. In my view, what the green represents is the general human condition. And when the green goes so high like this, where it's into, high 25s and 26.1, to me, this represents a building of confidence. So we had big power peaks to 82. That's a really solid energy. In all of the resonances, the first peak was stronger than the second peak. That's very common in waves that have more than one peak. The order of the power was also back to normal in this chart. So it was white, and then there we go. We got 62 and 51, okay? And then green the lowest. So that's the normal order that we normally have. So everything is kind of back to normal on the chart. It's so awesome. And with this waterfall, very typical type of wave energy. The last thing here is the qualities. And here's the red spike that was at that bridge. That was to 18. But the real story here in the qualities, in my view, see all these spikes here? This is to 31 on the quality chart. And the fact of the matter is that this was a very common spike in the chart before the whole COVID era. So for green to get back there, it's been spiking like at least once a day usually for several weeks now. Now look at this, we get twice a day spikes. Our power is back up, and even though the news is off the hook, right, with tension and anxiety, especially the last 10 days, which is one of the things I focused on and talked about in my live stream last night. In fact, I talked about that it's almost like in the last 10 days, especially going back to not this weekend, but the weekend before it, and then crossing over to the solstice, and then the 23rd of June, when there was really intense planetary geometries. Well, essentially, it's like there was an expected earthquakes. I don't think they happened, but what did happen In my view, we had an earthquake of the human psyche. And bam, no wonder it's like we've broken through something. Not only a veil is lifted, but like humanity itself, we have broken through something. And in doing so, we've gotten stronger. We're now spiking in quality to 31, a typical high, right? During the COVID era, we didn't do this at all. Okay, we were mostly under 15 in green quality for like 3 years. Okay, so this to come back like this, we are coming back. That's what it looks like. And then just to show you this, I wanted to just show you, this is from @Schumann Live on Twitter. They do these monthly charts and even yearly charts. And what you can see here, I just want to show you like typical. See all these waves that we had in March of 2023, that was more usual. Okay, but then look at April. Okay, we had this wave here in the second week, and then we had this, okay, the second week. And then look, this is not really a typical wave. That's a different, in my view, type of formation. Look at this. May was just like, where's the energy? I talked about this in my videos. And then for the almost 4 weeks of June that we've had, it's looked very similar to this. And you can even see going back to 2022, here's May and June of 2022. You can see, look at all the white resonance on the chart. Then look here, here's another wave. Here's a wave, here's a wave, here's a wave. Okay, so look at these waves, okay? And this is May here. This is the end of April. This is June. So you can see that this year was really unusual. And truly, it seems like we've broken through something. We've really solidified. Something in humanity has solidified, grounded, broken through, and some kind of veil is off of us. And it feels wonderful. Thank you for listening. If you want more, I've got links below.